We're back with the Sunday Drive Show. Has some technical difficulties. You know, when you speak truth, a lot of times you get zapped. And that seemed like what happened with me. We got zapped because we bringing the truth today. As we talk about the propaganda that's going on in the United States. You know, I'm trying not to go into overtime tonight. I'm not going to probably be able to deal with everything. But I want you guys to hear this perspective of this video I was listening to earlier. But this lady, she's spinning. So we're going to listen to this, and then after that we'll be right back. But we're back though. Tune in to Sunday Vibes.
It's time to hear your voice and opinion. Call us up right now. 888-351-5099. The opinions of the callers and guests do not reflect the opinions and beliefs of Black American Expat Radio. Unlike many social platforms, you have the rights and the liberty of free speech on our platform. But please be respectful and factual. All information provided is purely allegedly and intended for entertainment purposes. All content is copyright, and we do not give permission for any intellectual property to be restreamed or distributed without the legal and written permission of Black American Expat Radio. You can contact Black American Expat Radio via the Contact Us link on blackamericanexpatradio.org, or you can email us at blackamericanexpatradio@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, before I get on here, actually no, I have to get on here because I am just absolutely moved to chorus and I cannot ignore what is happening in this country and in Venezuela. Okay? Venezuela, they have captured, kidnapped, taken by force, all right, Nicolas Maduro and his wife, okay? Because they are on charges of narco-terrorism. His wife's name is Celia Flores, okay? Now, they are talking about how the issue of selling drugs out of Venezuela going to other places is the reason why they have captured someone's president. Donald Trump has gotten on TV and said Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth are going to be running Venezuela, and they're on the side of the people. There's a vice president, but she doesn't have a choice. Excuse me? Y'all, this is a fucking coup. This is wild. This is up there with the Iran-Contra affair and all this other old stuff. Let me tell you what the issue is. They have been setting this up for years. Venezuela is a socialist country. And I'm going to tell you how I know the effect. Because, and I'm not saying this like one group is better than the other, but I'm making a point. Because I teach at a private school where kids can afford, $50,000+ a year tuition. And I teach this class, Cold War in Africa and Asia. First of all, to help them understand the Cold War was not a nonviolent war. In fact, it was a very violent and global war. Okay, we've already had World War III and that was it. The United States has a history of doing this. When they don't like a government and they want your resources, the stuff they're talking about are rare earth metals, and you can read this on theguardian.com and several other articles. I do not suggest mainstream news sources. The issue of oil that the United States is taking and wants. And finally, the big one, drugs. Okay? Because you ain't going to tell me the motherfuckers up in the White House ain't snorting, shooting, and all kinds of shit. Does their behavior seem normal to you? Absolutely not. And then to kidnap these people, do you know the level of disarray? And let me explain something to you, because I know some people will put in the comments, well, I saw people on TV celebrating that he's lost. If somebody came and kidnapped Donald Trump's Okay? 34 count felony convicted ass. Okay? And took him somewhere. I could be cheering. Me and a lot of other people may be cheering. There would also be a contingent in the country that would be very angry, known as MAGA. Right? So to show, people in Florida, that them Spanish people that come from those countries, just like those white Cubans in Miami, all this stuff, they had to leave Cuba because Fidel Castro said, whatever you could take in your hand, you could take with you. But we're nationalizing all of this. People have been in poverty for too long. Okay? And when I say they've been setting this narrative with Venezuela, this is where I was going with the private school kid thing. So many kids have come up to me and they were like, well, how come socialism doesn't work in Venezuela? How come it doesn't work? I said, these questions are interesting because y'all aren't asking me why doesn't it work in Sweden and why doesn't it work in places like Norway? All of those people have gotten their wealth to have socialism from exploiting African and Asian countries for decades. I said, why don't you think it works? Who told you it doesn't work? And don't think it's a fucking mistake that Mamdani, yes, our Democratic Socialist mayor, that was voted for overwhelmingly by New Yorkers, despite there being an authoritarian dictatorship, because he's done this without the approval of Congress, with a whole clown-ass motherfucker like Pete Hegseth, who was a commentator on Fox News and who had been in the Army. And that's who y'all got running this shit. All because the Epstein files, he gonna distract from everything. They've had their eye on Venezuela to colonize it and to conquer it and to stomp out the threat of socialism. Why the fuck do y'all think they brought Maduro up here to be prosecuted in the Southern District of Manhattan? Y'all already know. It is famous, okay, for the, child. Not just for the Diddy, not just for the R. Kellys. What's the big Italian mafia guy? They got several, under them, but, what's his name? What was his name? One all the rappers are always, quoting. No, it's not Messino. John Gotti. Okay. That's what we're dealing with, okay? That's the Southern District of New York. Don't think it's a mistake that our Democratic Socialist mayor got inaugurated on New Year's Day and power shifted from Eric Adams' clown ass to him. And then they decide to bring a socialist leader from Venezuela to be prosecuted in New York. Not in DC or Virginia or Maryland, which would be close to the White House. No. Where you have the federal prosecutors all over the country. You bring them to New York. We want to know why? Because the first time Mamdani says something like, hey, this was illegal, Congress didn't even approve this, they want to be able to say, see, he's a socialist. See, this brown guy that has all these ideas. They want him to fail. They want him to lose. Because they are afraid if he is successful, even in this first term, which means he's probably going to get a second if he's successful in it. They are afraid of the message that has been sent by New York. And this is what I meant when I was reviewing the debates and stuff. Whether you live in New York City or not, see, that's the thing. New York is one of those cities that become the pattern for a lot of other things that happen in the country. Period. And I'm not a native New Yorker. I'm not up here talking rah, New York, Bronx, you know, the fuck? But I am saying that that's what they're scared of. That's why they brought him to New York. They want him to fail. They want to create chaos and confusion. They have already done that for the Venezuelan people. Do y'all realize how disruptive that is? Do y'all realize how many Venezuelan people who were immigrants here voted for Trump? And how many of those he has deported? See, this is what we've seen. They did it with Cuba when they had all those puppet governments since 1898 and President William McKinley decided, we're going to help the Cubans, the newly freed slaves, because that's what Cuba looks like, black people, the newly freed slaves, fight off the Spanish who were trying to colonize them. American soldiers went over there in 1898 and they tried to help. The largest help had come from a Negro regiment of soldiers who went on their own to prove their loyalty to the United States, hoping they would get some justice back in the U.S. They did not. But nevertheless, the Battle of San Juan Hill is where African American soldiers helped them win. But the difference is African American soldiers were also over there helping other black people, because the soldiers that Theodore Roosevelt sent over there went over there and said, I thought we were fighting to help the Cubans. And they told them, yeah, you are. They said, we didn't know they were Negroes, because that's exactly what they looked like to them. Except for they spoke Spanish. They were like, there are people that actually refused to fight. Fidel Castro, 1959 Cuban Revolution. The first thing out of my student's mouth was, didn't he treat his people really bad? And I said, And I let them go on for a little bit. I said, what did he do to his people? Class of 17 kids, couldn't nobody say one thing that he did to his people. I said, but do you really think the United States was in any moral position to sit around and talk about what Fidel Castro was doing? Especially since they were lynching African Americans en masse. Especially since they were sending German shepherds at the teenage kids who were protesting nonviolently. Especially after they bombed Martin Luther King's house, who becomes, like, maybe not officially, but the leader of the concept of a free world and the way he was doing it, bombed his house several times with his newborn in it. If the United States really worried, I said, do you really think they were concerned about the welfare of the Cuban people while all of this was happening in their country? That's not even their MO. They did it again with Vietnam. They did not like the fact that Ho Chi Minh was a communist leader. That ain't have shit to do with the United States, but it did, because what they do like is to have countries, okay, where they are used to exploiting people and workers, and they don't want a communist government or a socialist government coming in and challenging capitalism. That's what's happening. It doesn't matter if you agree with it. This is unjust. It's wrong. And they don't do it to just anybody. I tell you what, Donald Trump wouldn't have gone over there and got Kim Jong-un. Donald Trump ain't gonna go over to Russia and kidnap Putin, because I can guarantee you some nuclear bombs gonna motherfucking drop and we all gonna be gone. And don't think this is not about the outrage and set off the world. He gonna get us killed on fuck shit because y'all decided, and not y'all, my audience, but like y'all decided to have this psychopath, or certainly somebody with psychopathic tendencies, since I don't have a degree, I'm just an armchair, psychopathic narcissistic tendencies, and voted him in twice on the belief that he would improve the economy. Are you kidding me? This shit is dangerous. It doesn't matter what I think about anti-blackness in Latin America. That ain't got shit to do with shit right now. This is a problem. And I see the game they're playing. And they're not going to play it on me. And that's why I'm telling y'all, do not just jump to that. They did it with North and South Korea. Kim Jong-un has beef with the United States for the long history America had when they intervened, which was the beginning of the Cold War, in North Korea that wanted to be communist. And in South Korea, the United States decided they would infiltrate that part. And North Korea pushed them back. They had a whole war. It's still at an armistice state. There has never been an official ending to that war. Fun fact. You can look it up. Cuba, when they tried to take Cuba back after Fidel Castro and all of them were doing guerrilla warfare to get the United States out. The Bay of Pigs, when the United States the CIA told John F. Kennedy, this will be easy. We're going to take it back over. We'll be controlling it back in no time. He can't get us. They had the nerve to surround the entire island of Cuba, and the United States got fucking smacked. Had to go with their heads down, all them huge ass naval ships they had, because they got them the fuck up out of their country. That's why you've heard that rhetoric for so long. And so with Venezuela, the past 5 or so years, it's like, oh, it's social, oh, it's terrible there. It's so horrible there. It's horrible here. We done had a president that didn't know he was president. We got one that knows he's president and can't read. And don't none of them want to do nothing for the poor or black people. God forbid you both. And I live paycheck to paycheck. Like, I couldn't be out the poorhouse. Like, some people think they're better because they have 2 paychecks out the, like, I can't afford to not work. No, I don't give a damn about Beyonce becoming a billionaire in that sense. Like, what the fuck are people doing in the comments? Yeah, I love her music. Yes, Beyonce has worked hard. Beyonce was also never poor. And I'm not faulting her for that. But what I am saying is, she had 2 parents who were in business, who knew how to sell her as a product. And I don't mean like, oh, they trafficked her, but you know what I mean. And she's a billionaire. What the fuck do I care? No, you can't be really a good person and become a billionaire. That's why I don't praise Warren Buffett for saying we need to be taxed. Warren Buffett knows he's gonna be fucking rich when this is over. And black people praising this like in the comments, well, she got it, she earned. We ain't got it. I mean, sure, good for her, but what the fuck are we defending? The accumulation of wealth? Beyonce ain't going to college. I still got student loans. The myth of meritocracy. And I'm not saying it's not a different industry, but I do think people have a tendency to protect the rich. And I think in this country, it goes back to that concept of the American dream at the turn of the 20th century. And people believe that somehow one day it will be them. So they really don't want the laws of economics to change, because once they get rich, they want to live rich, rich, rich. There is such a thing as enough. It is. You can have enough money. Oh, and this Venezuela shit. Oh, by the way, us, the working class, the proletariat, the teachers who are either having to deal with banning books or quitting their jobs because they're just so tired of the fuck shit. Yeah, that's coming out of our checks. Our economy's fucked because we were sending money over to Israel, over to, what's the other people over there? The Ukrainian people that didn't even want to let them Africans out the country. But, you know, but I have more, at least, I can have at least some understanding with Ukraine. That Israel shit. Oh, it's over. Yeah, y'all done took every goddamn thing. 80% of Gaza is destroyed. Fuck you. So all of these things we're paying for. Billionaires are not being taxed. All of that money they put into Andrew Cuomo running for mayor was like equivalent to a governor or president's race. That's how much they hated socialism. And they thought the establishment Democrats would work. And it didn't. Because we had no choice but to look in the mirror. I've been very blessed to have a job, and I get up and thank God I have a job and a roof over my head. Because it doesn't have to be that way even if you do have a good education. Even if you did try to do everything right and did most things right. But it's that education bit and that thing my mother told me as a kid, I don't care what happens, you always get your education. It's the one thing they'll never be able to take from you. Now in my mind, I felt like, well, you know, white people would take everything else. They might as well take your degree, but that's not what she meant. What she meant was the knowledge. And that's why I can call this out, because I've studied and had the opportunities that are not given to everybody. And not just because they're not smart or because things don't work out. And that's why they don't want us in schools and in universities. That's why, because if we start learning and critically thinking, everything will change. That hole they got on poor whites who want the immigrants to go back to their country and shit. Because those immigrants who don't even have documentation and who get paid pennies on the dollar under the table, they're definitely in a position to outbid you on a fucking house. Like just quit messing with me. It's not a housing crisis. Y'all raise the prices of everything because billionaires don't want to actually do anything fair, and we have a Wall Street government. That's who runs our government. Capitalism only works if people are impoverished. You do realize that. And some of us are so tied to it. Like, I never thought it was a big deal when I heard Kanye's a billionaire, which I really don't think. Jay-Z's a billionaire. Beyonce's a billionaire. Like, I feel like we get these messages about black people doing it. So like, oh, see, the last time Beyonce did a free concert? When's the last time, you know? I mean, and granted, it's her work, but like, Prince did a really cheap concert. I remember trying to save the Forum. It was a musical venue and a sports venue for a long time in LA. It was in Inglewood when I was at UCLA, and the tickets were like $25. I got to see Prince live in like 2011, 2012. Prince knew what it was to have and get back. And some individual becoming a billionaire is not collective effort. And a billionaire doesn't pay taxes. So when Mom Donnie is saying what I know I've been saying, it doesn't make sense to have billionaires and homeless people. It does not. You don't need $1 billion. Nobody in the world needs that much money. Nobody in the world needs 8 houses. Nobody in the world needs to have a fucking spaceship to go and play around and you're not even a goddamn astronaut. You're not even trained. But this is the problem with the idea of celebrity and people putting so much emphasis on celebrities, because celebrities and their fame and their image drives products that people buy, because people do associate with their glamour or with their ideas or with their appearances on TV, and it's all a front and a lie. It is. It's a game. And it's a game that's led to a lot of exploitation. So we'll see how this plays out, but I had to get this off my chest because this is wrong. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon for Love Marriage Until. Bye.
I love Sundays. Sunday vibes always set the mode for the beginning of a wonderful week. Every Sundays from 7:30 until 10 p.m. Central. On BlackAmericanExpatRadio.com.
Young girl, be true now. Be true. The boy, he really loves you. Really loves you. But don't do him wrong, or he'll pick up his shoes and walk and say it's all your fault. Keep him from the hands of the wicked. You've got to look out, baby, baby, oh yeah. Hold on to you one way till you get. 'Cause true love only comes, it seems, one time. Don't miss that boat, or you might be left behind. If you got a good man and you blow his mind, baby, I'm gonna leave you with this line, and that line is the slide, the slip, the wicked, wicked, wicked. But don't make it, baby. No, slide, no, the wicked, wicked, wicked. Try to make it, 'cause the slide, he's got a fly alibi. That a woman like you might cry. Of the slick, he thinks he's so quick, and he'll try to pull the wool on over your eyes. But remember, there's one more, and he's the wicked. He shows you a good time. He's gonna gain your confidence, baby, and he'll leave you behind. Yeah. The slick, the wicked, wicked, wicked. Don't make it, baby. No. Slick, the wicked, wicked, wicked.
What do you do if you are the POS in chief and you want to distract from a damning report that came out about your declining health? Another damning report that came out about the level of bankruptcies in the manufacturing sector being the highest that it's been since the Great Recession of 2008. And you also want to distract from the fact that you found 1.2 million new E-Man files and another 5 million E-Man files that supposedly you just discovered, and are using that to circumvent the law and delay the release of the E-Man files that you were supposed to release on the 19th of December. What might one do if you want to distract from all of that? I know. Send missile strikes to Venezuela, kidnap their authoritarian leader and his wife, and tell the world that the U.S. is now going to run the Venezuelan government. And voila, the perfect distraction. Early this Saturday morning, the U.S. initiated strikes on Venezuela, unaliving an old lady in her home. They also ran a military ground campaign to capture the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, and have taken Maduro to New York to face charges. All of this has been done unilaterally without the consent of Congress. And make no mistake, this was a declaration of war. Now, Bonesberg said in a conference that America is now going to run Venezuela. And he assures that it's not going to cost America a thing. Where have we heard that before? Now, he says conflicting things about this because he says that America will only run Venezuela until the proper transition has been accomplished. But this is completely open-ended and seems to be one of those things where he's just saying that so that he can delay it to do what he really wants to do, which is another thing that he just admitted in this conference. Now, get this, y'all. The reason why he says that it's not going to cost America a thing is because he says that American oil companies are going to rebuild the energy infrastructure in Venezuela. Now, that is the end game. That is what he's wanted to do this entire time. He claims, of course, that they are going to run the country better than Venezuela has run the country, and Venezuela is going to make a lot of money. No, it's not. It's going to make as much money as the American people are winning right now. That was the end game to begin with. American oil company billionaires are paying him to put them in a position to make money in Venezuela. He is doing it for his billionaire buddies. And I'm pretty sure one of his sons is installed in one of those companies somewhere to make his family personally some money. So Bone Spurs is very likely personally making money off of this attack. Let's not get it twisted. This was never about narcotics. This was never about trying to stop trafficking of narcotics coming into the U.S. Or he never would have pardoned the former president that actually did that. The 115 people that they have unalived on those Venezuelan boats that they claim were trafficking boats but have never proven was just a pretext to do what they wanted to do in the first place. And we saw that when they attacked the tanker that was on its way to Asia. We saw that when they stopped and detained an oil tanker that was not even under American sanctions. We also saw that when the U.S. Coast Guard, who apparently think that the swastika, the noose, and the Confederate flag are not hate symbols, yes, they reversed their earlier reversal of that decision. The Coast Guard tried to board a tanker that was on its way to Venezuela to pick up cargo. We saw that then, that their whole shtick about this being about narcotics was a sham, like weapons of mass destruction. The Bone Spurs administration is basically reducing our U.S. Coast Guard to a bunch of wayward pirates. Now, Bone Spurs said that Daisy Rodriguez, who is the vice president to Nicolas Maduro, is cooperating with the Bone Spurs administration. But that's not true according to Daisy herself, who was sworn in a secret ceremony to be the interim president while all of this is going on. Reportedly, she has declined a meeting with the Bone Spurs administration and has said that Maduro is the one and only leader of Venezuela, which is to be expected because Rodriguez is the vice president to Maduro. Now, one would think if the Bone Spurs administration went this far as to kidnap the authoritarian president and his wife to bring them to the U.S. for charges, that he would install an opposition leader to replace him, right? Why take out the authoritarian leader if you're just going to allow the right hand of said leader to take his place? Doesn't really make sense, does it? Unless you realize that the opposition leader is Maria Corina Machado, the person that won the Nobel Peace Prize. The same Nobel Peace Prize that Bone Spurs was pathetically vying for. Had his whole administration begging for this prize for him. So he can feel like he came at least up to Obama's kneecap. He couldn't even make it that far because he didn't get it. And even though Maria Machado dedicated the Nobel Peace Prize to Bone Spurs in a super sickening display of brown-nosing, Bone Spurs has now thrown Maria Machado under the bus. Basically saying that she was a nice lady, but she didn't have the respect or the support to lead Venezuela. This is mostly because he doesn't like women leaders, and because he felt snubbed that she won the prize and he didn't. We all know that he's nothing but a little orange man baby with a vindictive streak. But it has been Maria Machado and Munoz Gonzalez who have been fighting against Nicolas Maduro. And Munoz Gonzalez was actually elected by the people to lead Venezuela. So Bone Spurs not backing them up to be the new leaders of Venezuela in this transition he is looking for is really making the international community scratch their heads a little. But why? The end game is pretty clear here. Not only is he being vindictive against Maria Machado, and he doesn't want her leading anything because she took his valued prize, but he also is banking on the destabilization of that government right now because he wants to run the government. He wants to install these American oil companies so that they can make money off of the oil in Venezuela. He is literally telling us what he's doing. There is no confusion to be had. Because he is not committed to any type of transition, he could do a transition right now, being that the deed is done. He has illegally attacked Venezuela, illegally kidnapped its authoritarian leader and his wife, and our spineless Congress is doing nothing at all to stop this, even though it is their job to declare war. If Bone Spurs actually wanted to just replace the leader because he actually cared about authoritarianism, then he would replace the leader with the opposition leader. He is not doing that because he wants to be the one who is running the country, even though he's run this one to the ground in the last 11 months. He wants another country to run to the ground so that he can make money for his billionaire buddies there as well. Now, Huffington Post did just come out with a report saying that the senators are going to get together next week and vote on a bill that would block further military action from the PLS in chief and the military when it comes to Venezuela. They are supposed to get together and vote on this. But this isn't the first time that they have attempted to vote on this. There have been quite a few votes to cartel the president's powers over military action abroad. And each one of those bills have failed because the Republicans find absolutely nothing wrong with what he is doing, even though it is a blatant disregard for congressional power. The Republicans have had no problem at all ceding their power in the Congress to the executive branch. So every attempt that the Democrats have made to try to pull in some of this power that the executive branch is having to unilaterally strike other countries and start wars with other countries has failed in the Congress. Because the Republicans in the Congress find no problem with it. And they all lied when they said that if you don't want wars, vote for bone spurs. They all lied when they put on those damn picket fences that if you want your children to go to war, vote for Biden. Because now people's children are under threat of going to war. Because this is not at all a peacetime president. This is literally just another thing that they lied to their base about. And their base believed them like a bunch of uneducated idiots.
Mic check. We're back in the building. You tune into the Sunday Live Show. As we get ready to wrap this one up, I tell you, a lot of people saying the same thing that I'm saying. And we should open our eyes and see what's going on. As a nation, we need to stand up, take our country back, because right now, this man driving our country down to the ground, and he's trying to do the same thing as Venezuela. You know, the whole watching this. You know, and a lot of people can see the propaganda that's going on. It's sad. The sad reality is that a lot of people is busy glazing Trump, just like the English. Okay, here we go. Yeah, just like the angry man, he's over there glazing Trump, you know, and believing everything he sees on Twitter. And I tell you, it's very sad. Very sad what we seeing going on here. Who this is texting me? Oh, I'm on the air. Alright. Very sad though. I'm gonna play something else before I get out of here because I'm already into the overtime on this Sunday. You know, trying to set some up. You know, we had some technical difficulties earlier. I had the camera rolling, you know. And then we had some, you know, technical difficulties. But I'm gonna play one more thing before I get out of here this evening. And I'm gonna talk about this next week also. On the Grind Time show, I'll be Grind Time live from Temple number 9. I'm going to be not playing, but I'm going to be talking about this. Because I'm sure a whole lot going to come out. Especially tomorrow, after the first court date. We're just going to sit back and see what's happening, what's going on with Congress. Okay, here we go. They're messing with me today though, because we're bringing the truth. Why does this president have so much power? You know, tearing up the White House, tearing up the reputation of the country, tearing up the country, driving it to the ground. And now they want to do the same thing to Venezuela. They want to run it to the ground. You know. Somebody got to stop this monster. Somebody got to stop this. You know, stop the madness that's going on here. Somebody needs to do something, because if not, this man is going to destroy our country. We're not going to have a country. We're not going to have a country. If we sit back and let him just continue to do what he do. Very sad. You know, and I want to play this right quick before I get out of here. Let's see, let me set this up. Because Anger Man earlier was talking about the people in the streets celebrating Trump. You know, all the propaganda that some of you guys might be seeing in the United States. And I'm seeing something totally different over here. You know, I am seeing something totally different over here. Hold on one second. They trying to mess me up too. I have something set up too. They trying to mess me up. Give me 1 second. Technical difficulties once again. They really trying to stop, you know, what I do over here. They're not gonna stop me. Let's see. I'm about to wrap this up though. I'm about to wrap everything up. I want to do one more thing before I get out of here. Let me see. Hold on. Can y'all hear me? Okay. You guys can hear me. Let me try to sabotage. You know, but I keep on going. You know, when you bringing the facts, you coming at little old me. Let's see what we can. Make sure we got everything set up right. But I'm gonna play this right quick. Let me see, can I find it? Oh wow! 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 I dropped my doggone iPad. Thank God it's not damaged. I don't think it is. Man, the devil be so busy. Let's see. Wow, I can't believe that. Can't believe that happened. Hold on, we're gonna play this right quick, dog. I want y'all to hear this. Let's see.
Oh, people are celebrating. In fact, people have gone on U.S. media who are Venezuelan, who live outside of Venezuela, and maybe sometimes.
Okay, we want y'all to hear this right quick because you know, I'm here in Colombia, and I want y'all to hear because in the United States they showing videos of people, like the videos Angry Man seen, and people believe in this. And let me tell you, they hear the source of what's going on here. What we talking about here in South America. You know, I'm down here in the soil, so I want y'all to hear this.
I want to kind of zoom in a little bit on what's happening in the streets because, you know, when you watch U.S. media, they make it seem as though, oh, people are celebrating. In fact, people have gone on U.S. media who are Venezuelan, who live outside of Venezuela, and maybe sometimes. So, oh, people are
happening right now in Venezuela.
So I want to know, I want to kind of zoom in a little bit on what's happening in the streets because, you know, when you watch U.S. media, they make it seem as though, oh, people are celebrating. In fact, people have gone on U.S. media who are Venezuelan, who live outside of Venezuela, and maybe sometimes inside, and said, yes, everyone's so happy this happened, everyone hates Maduro. And of course, you know, Venezuelans have all kinds of different political opinions, but at the same time, inside the country, there is a huge base of people who are revolutionary, who consider themselves Chavistas, and who certainly won't, you know, go down without some sort of fight if it comes down to it. So I'm curious if you can talk a bit about the attitude of people in the streets. I mean, I'm glad to hear there's calm, but are people celebrating? Are people happy the U.S. kidnapped Maduro, or is it a bit more complicated than that?
No, not at all. I mean, even since last night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., when we were listening to all of these bombings and we were receiving all this information, there were no celebrations on the streets. There were just people trying to understand the situation. There was people denouncing the situation, but you never heard any kind of celebration. Venezuela is not a country that is, it doesn't like war. Venezuelans are peaceful people, and beyond that, they do defend sovereignty. Of course, there's always going to be a group of people who are going to celebrate or support this kind of interventions, but it's not the majority of the country. It has never been that way. That is the way the mainstream media portrays Venezuela, because it is convenient for them to say that the majority of the Venezuelan people want this intervention, but that is not the truth. And we have actually proved that throughout these years. Every time there has been calls by the opposition to do violence, you know, to create this violence, guarimbas and protests in the streets, people always respond completely, the people reject completely that idea of taking the streets of Venezuela and just overthrowing the Maduro government. No, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen, and it's not happening now. People right now, of course, this is an extraordinary situation. We have never lived through something like that, even though Venezuela has lived through.
I want to kind of zoom in a little bit
on
what's happening.
Yep. So that's you heard it. You heard it from the locals, from local people. You heard what the Venezuelan people are saying. You know, people are not just celebrating as you see in America, on the American media. You know, that's why you got to look at different sources, though. You can't just look at X and Fox. You can't just look at Fox. You can't just look at Twitter and base everything on what you see on those platforms. You can't have a one-sided view, that's all I'm saying. You can't have a one-sided view. But I'm going to get into this more next week. We're going to get more into this next week. We're going to talk more about this as I grind time. And I might drop a video on this too, this upcoming week. You know, but this is Sunday Vibes. I'll be back next week, same time, same place. We went a little bit into the overtime this week, but that's all right. Every now and then we have to do it. But I'm about to get up out of here now and make way for the quiet storm, slow jams, which is going to be going on right after we get off until 1 a.m. and then the late show from 1 to 3 after that. So stay tuned, and I'm up out of here. Peace out. Until next week. One love.
Join us for Sunday Vibes, heard exclusively on Black American Expat Radio Network from 7:30 to 10 p.m.
Here's a tip from the Travel Bug Treatment Center. Kids who travel do better in reading, math, and general knowledge than those who did not. So get away with the family and reap the benefits for years to come. Plan your next getaway at discoveramerica.com.
Check us out online at blackamericanexpatradio.com. Also, follow us on Instagram at Black American Expat Radio. Big O as DJ Rock the Spot. Twitter at Bay Radio 74. Facebook at Black American Expat. And on YouTube as Black American Expat Radio and Black American Expat Podcast.
Yo aparecí y ella se fue. Se fue, bembele, se fue. Y cuando pregunto dónde está, nadie a mí me quiere contestar. Anoche voló, marchó sin mí. Dicen que se ha ido pa' Brasil. Se fue, se fue. Sin mí se llevó todo el calor, se olvidó de mi sentir, se dejó un dolor y un pantalón que ahora me pongo para dormir. Aún guardo secretos, susurro prohibido, yo cuerpo encendido para ti, el olor del barrio y el calor de la locura. Se fue, bembele, se fue, bembele, bembele. Se fue de mí. Bembele, 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 bembele. Bembele, 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 bembele. Bembele, 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 bembele. Brasil, que le digan que la espero, poniendo flores de jardín sobre todos nuestros sueños, y canto más fuerte que llegue la rumba, que el aire se lleve mi cantar, rumba que te tumba por amor, amor a mi locura. Se fue, bembele, bembele. Se fue, bembele, bembele. Se fue de mí. bembele, bembele.